word you'd use to describe how you feel today?
Awesome.
What's a word you'd use to describe you?
Awesome. No, I'm kidding. Creative.
What's a word to describe how you felt 10 years ago?
Mixed up.
What gives you strength?
I can't answer that. I don't know what gives me strength. Do I have strength? My name is Rod. I'm 56 years old. Oh my God. And my interests are, I have bipolar 1, and my interests are music, art, film and culture. What was life like before I reached out? It was very mixed up and at times out of control. And yeah, out of control would be how I would describe it.
What were you experiencing?
I was experiencing the effects of bipolar. So lots of ups and lots of downs with not a lot of time in between. So it was quite chaotic, and it made it very hard to be productive. I first got depressed when I was 16 years old, and at the time in the 70s it wasn't talked about, so I didn't actually know what was going on. And I didn't seek any help, and no one tried to help me. I mean, I kept it quite hidden. I did it very well, and lost nearly a whole year of school as a result. After that time, I moved to being more bipolar-ish symptoms, so elevated and then depressed, but still didn't know what was going on. When you're in it, it's sometimes quite hard to see the big picture because it's happening to you. And it was my family and some troubles that I was having there on the home front that led me to get help. What was I noticing in those initial stages? That I was kind of bumping into life. I think that's a great way to describe it. Bumping into situations and not coping with situations, and being quite out of my depth in many situations. I still managed to be creative, but it was very kind of on and off, and not very productive. I went to a GP who in turn put me in touch with a professor of psychiatry, and it was there in that initial meeting that it was found out through revealing my history that bipolar was probably what was going on for me.
What's changed for you since that moment with that doctor?
Well, gaining an understanding and being put onto medication helped enormously. And a little while after that, I went under a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, and I spoke about all the things that had happened to me in my past, and learned to make peace with that. And that kind of leveled out a lot of the symptoms and made the symptoms much more bearable, and in fact turned it from being something quite destructive in many ways to something being super positive, because I feel in some ways bipolar is a gift, and it allows us a kind of clarity and an insight that I don't think I would get if I didn't have it.
And why do you think it's important to talk about mental health?
Oh, it's so terribly important. To be in isolation and to be alone with it is to have it controlling you rather than you being in control of it, or at least being able to cope with it. And talking about it with professionals helps you to gain insight and understanding, particularly for those times when you don't have clarity yourself. When you're really depressed or quite manic, you can lose touch with reality. And for those times when that happens, you can hear the health professionals' words, and it helps you to navigate your way through those times.
What would you say to someone who's too scared to speak up?
If you're too scared to speak up, you're going to continue to be a victim of that mental health issue. So it's really important to be brave and to say to a health professional, hey, I think something might be wrong. Or if a friend or a family member says to you, I think there's something going on here that needs to be investigated, and you need to have the courage and the strength just to make that initial contact. That's the hardest moment, is reaching out. But once you've done it and you've got some people in place that are going to help you in your journey, then you're going to be much better off. So even though you're scared, go for it. What would I say to someone who thinks mental illness is a weakness? Like an asshole.
I knew you were going to say that. I was like...
It's not a weakness. It can be a vulnerability, and I think that's a very different kind of word. So for some people, mental health issues can be quite debilitating, and they may feel weak. But there are times when I felt weak, when I was very depressed. I felt very, very helpless and out of control and weak. But it doesn't mean that having a mental health issue is a weakness. In some ways, having a mental health issue is a strength. It allows you, in my experience, to have enormous empathy for others and for other people's plight. What message can I give to people who might be experiencing this and feeling hopeless? That there is hope. I'm living proof that you can live with a mental health issue and be productive, be happy, be loved and love. And that even though there are dark moments, there are going to be positive ones in the very near future, and to seek help. That's the most important thing. Talk, open that dialogue with a loved one, with a health professional, get a care plan, seek help.